what I deem from my own experiences to be a lesser degree of what a lot of y'all want me to talk about, which is astral projection. We're gonna get into a lot of it too. I started to experience sleep paralysis super young. So just like everything else that I have experienced, and my thing is whatever it is I'm going through, it doesn't matter. I'm going to study it. And I'm not talking about just study it as in go Google or research. I mean, when I was having my sleep paralysis experiences, I don't really experience it anymore. But when I was experiencing it, I would study the experience itself. So no matter what was going on, I'd be, okay, what is this that I'm feeling? What is this that I'm hearing? So we're going to get into all of that. So I'm speaking on it from not just I've studied what the scientists say about it perspective. I'm also going to talk to you about it from what I think the scientists get wrong about it. And I think it's okay. The scientists are allowed to get it wrong because they're still trying to figure out what sleep paralysis is, essentially. The main thing that a lot of people who talk on it from a scientific level will say is basically it's all in the brain, or it's all in your brain. All right. I personally, myself, I don't think it's all in your brain. And again, this is just from experience. So even with that, with that being stated, the brain that a lot of people think they know about is complex. It's super complex. So I just may not understand to what extent the brain is able to create all of these experiences or all these realities that we're looking at or we're observing. So even though I'm saying I don't think it's all in the brain, I don't think the brain is just creating all of that and you feeling all this other stuff and all these different things I've been experiencing or I've experienced in the past or I've been exposed to. I don't think that's all in the brain. Either way, I could still be wrong because there's still more to learn about these realms. Okay, all these different dimensions and states of observation and state of consciousness and all that other stuff, or states of consciousness. So I would say that the scientists normally would say this. I don't agree with that. I don't think that that's the truth. However, I'm still exploring myself. So the key thing, again, just to understand, whatever it is we're talking about, is to define it word by word or just deal with the wording itself. So sleep paralysis. I think all of us know what sleep is when you go to bed or when you fall asleep or change states of consciousness like I was talking to you about, and you experience different brainwave activity and your brain is telling certain parts of your body to shut down and you're able to recharge yourself. We know what sleep is. And then you have the paralysis part where you said, again, just that shutting down, which is not in total. I wouldn't say that the entire situation is shut down or the entire body is shut down because from experience, even when you experience the paralysis part, it's not 100% because you still have eye motion. Okay. And those of y'all who experience this, you know what I'm telling you about. It's true. You have eye motion. Okay. Meaning you can look around. You still have finger motion. Okay. You can still move your fingers, your phalanges, and you still have toe motion. Right. You also can move your eyelids, as in you can open and close your eyes. All right. You can also move your mouth. All right. Where a lot of people experience they attempt to call out and speak, you can still open your mouth and move your mouth. You just aren't able to produce sound. So it's not all the way paralyzed. Your body isn't all the way paralyzed. It's not 100% paralysis when you have these experiences, at least from my experience. So even though I think that the word does it justice or the phrase does it justice, sleep paralysis, I still think people need to look more deeply into it to see that it's not really a paralysis situation entirely. Okay. And again, the paralysis is based on locations or parts. So you could be paralyzed from the waist down, or you can have paralysis of the jaw. So it's not always saying the entire thing, but I wanted to make sure that it's clear that the paralysis isn't 100% from my experience. And I want that to be clear because they'll say you can't get out of the paralysis. All right. Another thing they'll say is when you have paralysis, you can't escape it. And this, from experience, is not true. You can escape paralysis. As a matter of fact, you will feel the sleep paralysis begin. At least I can. I felt the sleep paralysis start. All right. I knew when it was coming. There was this warping sensation that we'll get into a little later on. All right, but you can stop a sleep paralysis as it's going on. One of the easiest ways to stop sleep paralysis is to wiggle your toes. All right, or to move anything like your fingers or your toes, smaller movements, that'll be able to activate the rest of the body's ability to be able to move. Okay, so you can't escape it. That's not true. So I wanted to make sure people knew that even just these parts still being able to be moved will open up your ability to move the rest of your body. So don't think you just have to lay there. And that's important because some people endure traumatic experiences because they think that there's nothing else that they're able to do other than to submit. And that's not true. So there are a lot of ways that you can fight back, escape the paralysis, or even stop it from coming on. And we get to that too. Okay. So another thing, even though it's called sleep paralysis, is more so. Okay, it's two things. I'll say it like this first. Okay, sleep, wake, and then you have wake, sleep. All right, these are transitional processes. Okay, so you have sleep, wake paralysis or transitional paralysis, and then you have wake, sleep, transitional paralysis. So it's not like again, just the word sleep. There's actually a transitional type paralysis where you're going from one state into another. So the first state y'all have heard me talk about is I wrote it in my books and things like that, where you have hypnagogia or hypnagogic hallucinations. All right, so that's the first type. Hypnagogic, because some people say it different, is why I'm saying it like that. You have hypnagogia or hypnagogia or hypnagogic or hypnagogic. Hypnagogic hallucinations, and then you have hypnopompic. Hypnopompic hallucinations. And the hypnopompic is when that's that sleep to wake transition. And this is your wake to sleep, where you start feeling the onset when you're going into the dream state. Some of y'all felt it when you're waking up. Some of y'all feel it when you're going to rest. So this is just what they call those two different experiences. Okay. So again, the main thing is just knowing what it is that we're speaking on before we even move forward. So my main thing was when I would come back. Every time I would come back from an astral projection or come back from a dream or a lucid dream, I would still be able to experience the sleep paralysis. I would know that I was coming back here. Now, I still have similar experiences where I know I'm coming back here. It just doesn't often happen with the paralysis. Okay. Now, I think there's a lot of reasons why I moved away from the paralysis part. And I think that we'll get into that too. We're going to go science and we're going to go experience a lot more. I think I have a lot of the answers as to why people do experience it beyond what the scientists say. And I do think I have a lot of the answers as to how to stop it from happening, because I stopped myself from experiencing it. When I stopped doing certain things, when I cut out certain habits, when I started to shift myself around, I didn't have that type of experience. And even when I did have the experiences of sleep paralysis or experiencing that wave come on or those vibrations come on, and those of y'all who experience it, you know what I'm talking about. It didn't come with dark beings or things like that. It came with more benevolent experiences. It came with more of a triggered response of me being able to onset astral projection where I could get up out of my body and move around. You see what I'm explaining to you? So we'll get into all of those too. And remember, all of these classes that we're doing recently with, what was the other one we just did? I know we did this is sleep paralysis. We just did, I can't remember exactly which one it was we just did. The dream world, the lucid dreaming, all of these. This is leading up to that astral projection degree that y'all keep asking me about. You understand? Okay, cool. So one of the key things when it comes to sleep paralysis to understand about, and then we'll move forward, is sleep stages. Okay, so there's stages in your sleep. We'll talk about what those stages are, and then I'll explain to you where they say the sleep paralysis usually occurs. Okay, so you got sleep stage 1, but they call it N1. All right, sleep stage 2, N2, sleep stage 3, N3, and sleep stage 4, which is REM. Okay, so these will be along the lines of what they call non-REM or NREM. You got different ways that people will call it non-REM or N1, N2, N3, and then you have REM, which is rapid eye movement. Okay, so non-REM 1 or the N1 is said, okay, when you first start going into that restful state, your heartbeat slows down, your breathing slows down, different your body temperatures drop, all of that. That started in the beginning stages. The second stage, which is what we similar to what we were talking about with the states of consciousness, and when they shift and you experience like theta and all this other stuff, light sleep. Okay, so I want to go ahead and write that. So light sleep. I probably should have wrote the first one. Okay, this is the light sleep. This is where you have the breathing, heartbeat, and your body temperature. All of these drop, okay, or the rates slow down. Okay, so they go down. All right, this is more so your light sleep. You're relaxed. You're starting to get those feelings of the dreams and things like that. And then here is your deep sleep in 3. Deep sleep. So you see how they align with the states of consciousness that we spoke about yesterday, I think it was. Okay. Now, rapid eye movement or REM, that's when all of the brain activity that you're experiencing at that point, it'll be the most similar to when you awake or in your waking life. Okay. So you just put brain activity similar to waking life. Okay. Similar to when you're awake. All right, that's when all of another one of the ways people actually want to experience REM more because it's healthy for the brain. All right, so if you want to experience more REM, you wouldn't be sitting there with your phone all to your face all night. That's what the blue light exposure that messes up a lot of people's sleep cycle. They don't really understand it. If you want to experience more REM, you would be let's say before you go to rest, you would read a book. Okay, or take in a lot of information, maybe listening to an audio book because it requires you to process the information, similarly to when you're in beta state or gamma state. Okay, so that state will still be intensifying enough for you to take in the information, and it'll cause for heightened senses. All right, so when that happens, when you go into that realm of sleep, the brain is like, okay, we got a lot of information we need to figure out or sort out, and we need to store these memories and things like that. So your brain is basically saying, I need to rest more so I can do a lot of this memory consolidation. I can put these new experiences where they need to be. I can sort out some of the emotions I'm experiencing and all of that. Okay. The problem that they say that a lot of people that are experiencing sleep paralysis are having is that the amygdala is overactive when you experience that transitional state or that transitional from the certain sleep states to another sleep state, or coming out of the non-rapid eye movement to REM, or entering in from another rapid eye movement cycle to another rapid eye movement cycle. That amygdala is overactive. And what would that mean? The amygdala is involved in all of your fear processes, your emotional processes, and things like that, including anxiety. So it seems that they say that people would have that experience more because that amygdala is overactive. All of the negative, the traumatic experiences, the demonic experiences, and things like that. Now, again, I have my own experiences, and I think that's one of the ways or places that scientists get it wrong, because sleep paralysis doesn't always include fear. Okay, and me, I wasn't even raised on fear, so I didn't have fear, and it still happened, and you still have those demons pop up. You still have these shadow being, whatever they want to call it, they'll still pop up. So it's not, from experience, the fear itself, the anxiety, that doesn't yield it, because I don't experience anxiety. I was told what sleep paralysis was before I even experienced it, and when I started to have those experiences, I didn't have anxiety because I knew what it was. I didn't have fear because I knew what it was. That never stopped those demons, incubi, succubi, negative experiences. That never stopped that. So I just wanted to highlight that. But again, REM, okay, that's where they say the sleep paralysis will occur the most. And REM sleep happens in stages, okay? So you have, let's put REM. When you first going into that sleep state, 90 minutes in, okay, you got the first 90. So let's say 90 minutes into sleep. All right. When you're 90 minutes into your sleep cycle, that's when the first REM starts to pop off. And after that, every 90 minutes, there's another REM cycle. So every 90 minutes equals another REM cycle. Here's what's important to understand about that. Each REM cycle will last approximately 10 minutes. Okay, now all of this will vary. It depends on who you're speaking about. It might vary with age. You might have seniors experience it differently. The younger people, the adolescents experience it differently. There are different experiences for different people. And it ain't even just the age alone. Again, it's just different people have different experiences. But the main point about it is you have that 90 to 90 type cycle of 90 minutes into sleep. That's what they at least agree upon in the scientific community. 90 minutes into your sleep, you'll start experiencing it. And every 90 minutes, okay, meaning about every hour and a half, there'll be another activation. So some of y'all may have multiple dreams throughout the night, or some of you may experience where a dream starts and then you go into another type dream and then you go into another type dream. He said, I just had 3 different dreams back to back, but those dreams there were no spaces in between. They didn't have spaces in between them. You understand that? So it's like they just merging in. Okay, it's because your brain isn't accounting for that dark space, all right, or that unconscious space that isn't where the rapid eye movement sleep is occurring. Does that make sense? So that would mean if I'm going to sleep and I'm sleeping for 4 hours, okay, then my sleep starting off with that 90 minutes into my sleep, after a while, I have maybe about 2 or 3 dreams based off of the 90 to 90 type sleep REM cycles. I hope that's making sense to y'all. So again, we don't, you go to sleep, you'll be there. Even if you went to sleep for 6, 7, 8 hours, okay, you only really remember the time where you're having a dream. All right, you don't remember being asleep unless you're again leaving or exiting those deeper sleep states or states of consciousness, and then you'll go into again. That still have to be REM or leaving out of the REM where you're just waking up or you're rising out of your rest. You understand? So the main thing here is REM sleep is affected in the minds of those people who have sleep paralysis. So the on and off switch is messed up, or they say it's malfunctioning. So you'll still be shutting down parts of the body. You'll still experience paralysis. Your pons part of your brain will still activate and say, okay, all I need to do right now is breathe. All I need to do right now is make sure my heart is still beating. I don't need to use my muscles. I don't need any of what they refer as the voluntary muscles. Okay, they refer to them as the voluntary. I don't need those. I need my involuntary muscles. And then, but you're still awake. So it's not fully active, that ability to toggle the REM switch. You see what I'm explaining to you? So it's still there, but it's not functioning, as they say, properly. Now, again, me with my own experiences, I think that that's a gift. It's not a curse. I think it's still the ability to learn more about what reality is for human beings and how much our consciousness plays a role in the experiences we have, the realities we're able to access, and so on and so on and so on. Okay? So sleep paralysis normally occurs during REM, rapid eye movement. You ever looked at somebody, you see their eyes closed, but you can still, they're resting, they're asleep, but you still see them looking around and all this other stuff? Okay, cool. If it weren't for certain brain processes or neural processes where you'll shut down these parts of your body, it wouldn't just be the eyes that were active. You understand that? Because now that beta state is seemingly active at that point. You would have been acting out your dreams. If human beings hadn't evolved, or if they weren't created, or whatever you want to say, to have that part of themselves be shut down so they're not harming themselves. And some people do experience it where they'll act out their sleep or they'll sleepwalk. You know, have people hurt themselves, crash into stuff, all kind of stuff, because they were acting out dreams. So the body is wise enough or smart enough or intelligent, as usually like the body's intelligent enough to shut down certain parts that will either cause harm to you or cause harm to the people around you if you were to act it out. And it doesn't need to shut down the eyes, so the eyes still move around. You see that? And the eyes are still able, again, to move around when you're experiencing sleep paralysis. Okay, so the main thing that they say people are experiencing during sleep paralysis would be hallucinations. Hallucinations. And we'll talk about that. So where does this word hallucination come from? It comes from hallucinare. Hallucinari. Hallucinari. Okay, and that means to wander in the mind. To wander in the mind. Another way they say that is hallucinatio. Okay, hallucinatio. Hallucinatio. and it's simply the same thing, really, to or seeing or hearing what isn't there. Well, another one that they give you is hallucinatory. Okay, so this one means seeing or hearing what isn't there, and the other one would mean similar to this one, which is the hallucinare. Hallucinare means to go astray in the thought. All of this is still dealing with the brain. To go astray in the thought. So it's different from an illusion. Illusion is usually thought to be something that multiple people can see at the same time. All right. And it's presented in such a way that people will use whatever information they already have stored in their brain to make out an image, or you have the optical illusions, or the audio illusions, or what do you call it, the auditory illusions and things like that. So there's visual illusions, auditory illusions. There's even tactile illusions. Okay, and we'll get into visual, auditory, tactile also. Okay, so the main thing is it's happening in the brain. It's not necessarily an illusion where people will walk in and they'll be able to see the same thing that you're seeing and make out whatever you're making out, even if it's not what it actually is appearing to be. Okay, it's the the hallucination part is to say that this is happening in your brain only. Nobody will be able to come in and see it. I want to highlight this to say it doesn't mean that it's not happening, and it doesn't mean that it's not real. It just means that whoever is observing it isn't able to see it the way you're seeing it. You understand? They wouldn't see what you're seeing. Whoever is observing you wouldn't be able to pick up on a demon sitting on your chest, or something trying to grab hold of you and choke you, or anything assaulting you in any way. They wouldn't see any of these things. You see what I'm saying? So they call it a hallucination. You got different hallucinations, audio verbal hallucinations, and things like that. Okay, but essentially they'll say those who experience sleep paralysis experience hallucinations. Okay, so it's supposed to be happening only in the mind. That's not my experience, because again, I'm experiencing stuff like this for a long time, and I don't think that, again, that it's only in the mind. Even though some people may have that feeling, and probably some people they never experienced it. Okay, but that's what I think. I don't think it's just something that people think about. Okay, here are some of the things that I perceive scientists get it wrong. Okay, other than the fact that I already told you, they say that you have to be in fear. Okay, sleep paralysis does not mean, or does not equal, or does not include fear always. Or we could say exclusively. So sleep paralysis, you don't have to always be afraid or experiencing anxiety for you to have that. This shit can happen anyway, okay? And also, when you have certain sightings or you have certain sounds, it's not always when you are in that state. Sometimes it starts, sometimes begins in your dream. Okay? So sometimes whatever it is that you're experiencing, whether it's the attacks, whether it's the sounds or the sightings, sometimes you'll be in the middle of a dream and you'll start to feel that. You can even feel that you're paralyzed. You'll feel something choking you. You feel those things while you're dreaming. And then you come out and you'll see what it is. That I haven't heard any of the people talk about that. It ain't that you just woke up and now it's like, oh, it's dark and I only have moonlight, and so my brain is trying to make images out to be. No, you already felt the being choking you, whatever it was. You already felt the being probing you, whatever it was. You already felt that something was in your ear or talking to you. You already felt that right up there. The presence was there while you were in a dream, and then it shifts you into the state of being able to observe what it is. Okay, so different ways you'll see it. You'll see it as some type of misty type being. You'll see it as a translucent type being, meaning you can still see it, but it's see-through with translucent. So it's not completely transparent. Okay, it's not opaque, but it's kind of right there in the middle. Y'all can go look that up. So you have certain beings that have that translucent appearance, and then you have certain ones that they look like beings. Like one of them that I saw looked like Voldemort from the Harry Potter movie, but not Voldemort. So it was similar to, so you'll see certain beings in real time with light reflecting off of them. Okay. And it's not a hallucination to the point where when we wake up out of our dreams, I remember when I was younger, I had a dream and Scooby-Doo was in my dream. I may have been like 4 or 5 years old. Scooby-Doo was in my dream and I woke up and I looked around my room and Scooby-Doo, wherever I looked, that nigga Scooby-Doo was there to us. What's up? That's Scooby-Doo. Everywhere I look, I said Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo. Okay, who's Scooby-Doo? Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo. I said, okay, that's how I realized that dream images can follow you into this reality. But I was seeing it from my eyes. Okay, so it was still in my eyesight. When you look away from them demons and you look back, them niggas still be right there like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? It no matter what happened. You look over here, what's going on though? I saw it. I saw that you did that, but what's up though? So that's not true. It's not some shit that you just seeing because it's a visual hallucination. That shit is sitting right there and you can see it. You can look from the corner of your room and look back. The motherfucker's still gonna be standing there. You see? So again, I think they get it wrong there. Unless you're telling us or telling me that our brain is just that equipped that it's able to make an image out, place it somewhere. In reality, you look away from it and you turn back and it's still right there. Then the brain go hard. Brain on S game mode. I don't know how to say that, but I don't think this shit is just the brain. So it will begin in your dreams sometimes. It's not always you don't woke up out of a dream or you're going into the dream state and you get caught somewhere between states of consciousness, all right, or in that transitional state or transitional paralysis. No, sometimes it's in the dream and then you wake up and you're seeing what's causing it, okay? Another thing, like I was telling y'all with the visual, the auditory, and the tactile, visual is basically saying what you see. Auditory, you should know that, is what you hear. And another way to remember tactile is to say, like T. Remember T? Touch. Something touching you. Okay? Most of the scientists only want to talk about visual and auditory. They only want to talk about, oh, you see this, you hear these things, and it's hallucinations. And then they'll hiccup and throw out tactile every now and again. Okay, they'll say, well, then some people talk about they being touched, but they really want to speak in terms of respiratory discomfort. They'll say, oh, they say they can't breathe, but that's possibly because REM causes shifts in your breathing, so you're not really breathing how you would be breathing because your body is going through different stages during sleep, so you would breathe differently. No, we say we feel like something is choking us. Like, not we feel like it's hard to breathe. No, we know the difference. They be fucking with us. We know the difference. No, it feel like some shit is reaching down and saying, come here, you. Or, why you little? That's what we going through. And we can see who the fuck or whatever the fuck it is that's doing it. So another thing is, how is it that everybody that's been having or experiencing sleep paralysis getting choked by the same motherfuckers? How is we all hallucinating the same motherfuckers? Why are we not hallucinating the tooth fairy? Why are we not hallucinating that we rich? Why are we not hallucinating that we sit on the side of a river somewhere and is made of gold? Everybody just hallucinate the same motherfuckers, the same shadow. Y'all see these, y'all know these niggas. You done seen these niggas. Everybody just, and all of our hallucinated beings sit on our chest. Listen, you got paintings you can go and look up and see where they done illustrated demons or devils sitting on the chest of people. Or they'll say it's called being rolled by a witch. This was way before y'all started putting words to it and say, oh, it's a hallucination. It's just complicated to breathe because of REM. No, these motherfuckers been around. Whoever these beings are, let me tell you something from experience. Don't believe me. I'm not asking you to do that. These motherfuckers are real. Like when they say remember the lady on the plane, say that one is not real? No, that one is real. Whoever these people, these beings are, there are different types of beings, okay? But they exist in different states. It's not, you ain't gonna tell me billions of people over all this time have had these same experiences with these same people and we all hallucinate in this thing. You see what I'm explaining to you? No, I don't know who or what they are. I even had questions when I was younger. I said, who would have given whoever these beings are permission to mess with human beings like this? Because it seems that they come at you when you already at your lowest. It's not always that, but when you already at your lowest is when they're able to come to you. Let me tell you certain windows that I saw or observed open up access for these beings to you. The main window that I absorbed or observed, or both, because I went through watching it and just seeing it like most of the people do. Pornography. When pornography windows were open, listen to the word that I'm using. Literally, windows were open. There was a situation, I can't remember how many years ago, maybe like 2020, 2021. I experienced where something came out of the phone. I was resting. Okay. The phone was in my hand. I felt whatever it was come out of the phone, and one of those windows were open. And it came out of the phone and tried to choke me and interact with me and all kind of stuff like that. So I'm not, listen, you don't go to rest thinking I'm going to envision being attacked tonight. That's not what happens. You go to rest, you're peaceful. You don't, as a matter of fact, after you have an orgasm or what do you call it, some type of dopamine release or an ejaculation, there's more of a calmness. Other than that, they call it a post-nut clarity. All right. Other than the fact that you will have certain clarity, you say, okay, I don't want to be watching this, all that other stuff. You'll be relaxed. So you don't have anxiety. If anything, niggas is laid back, chilling, cooling, all this stuff, and then you get attacked by some demon. You see what I'm explaining to you? So now, other than the fact that brainwave activity is different, especially when you're going from dopamine release to just being calm, and then you go into a rest state, I can see how the brainwave activity could affect your transitional states. All right, or you transitioning between states. Still so, the anxiety isn't there, the fear isn't there. I think that's an error. You understand that? So doors and windows like pornography, even sexual encounters, sex, even drill music, all right, or hardcore music, music that puts you in the mind and the image of murder, all this other stuff. Whoever these beings are, simply stated, without going too much in detail, I don't want people to be, you know what I'm saying, thinking it's getting too graphic. Lower vibratory beings. It seems that they're attracted to human beings in their most primitive state, in their most vain state. Why? I think it has something to do with this right here. Electromagnetic / energetic yields. I think that human beings are used as a food source. Right? Remember when we had this movie here? It was called Monsters Incorporated or Monsters Inc., the business of whoever these monsters are. And you saw what they were doing, right? They were siphoning fear. They were siphoning that anxiety people are talking about that comes from or as a result of that overactive amygdala. They were siphoning all of these lower vibratory yields from the children. Now, it ain't just the children that experience sleep paralysis. Okay, a lot of times it's the adults, and the adults are being siphoned from. How do you explain to somebody why they're being probed that this is just all in your brain? What part of my brain said, oh no, let me just cause a probing effect out of nowhere? And then why is it that so many people experience that probing effect? You with me? So either these monsters are advanced monsters. Okay, advanced monsters, what do you mean by that? First of all, we got to deal with the monster thing and stop just saying monsters. Let's just say what that would be. Simply, a life form. We're not children. If it's a monster, it's a life form. Whether you think it's Sasquatch, whether you think it's fucking the Yeti, whether you think it's a unicorn, whatever you think is a monster. I don't know who people think of unicorns are monsters, but still, life forms. That's who we're dealing with. So whoever these beings are, all right, they could either be the Greys, all right, or ETs or extraterrestrials, all right, because you had certain claims that certain extraterrestrials came through and did certain deals with certain presidents like Dwight Eisenhower, certain things like that. I wasn't there. I don't know. They just made certain claims that in exchange for certain pieces of technology, they will be allowed to do certain studies and tests on the human beings. So human beings would be used as subjects. And that's when a lot of the people started talking about abductions. They got picked up and da-da-da-da-da. And the government like, abduction? I don't know what you're talking about. What you mean abduction? They know exactly what the fuck people was talking about because it's a possibility that the government agreed to turn their head away while that happened to act like they don't see nothing and let all of this go on. They could have easily stepped in and said, okay, you can't do business in this part of this world or over here. You ain't able to take our people. Stop picking up our cows. I don't know what your thing is with cows. Stop mutilating our animals. Stop doing like that. No, but the government wanted technology. The government wanted, again, all of these are just claims. I don't know that. I didn't see that, experience it, but I did hear about it. However, they do have a movie, and the movie is called Jupiter, either Jupiter's or Jupiter, but it's Jupiter Ascending. I think it's Jupiter's. Either way, go look for it. You'll find it. Put an S there if you feel like it. I think it's called Jupiter's Ascending. And in that movie, they had a scene where there was a woman who was caught up in some type of warping type technology. And they were flipping her around, rotating in the air. And you couldn't see why she was floating in the air or what was causing it to happen. But then out of nowhere, one of these niggas poked their head out and you could see it and their whole body was shown and it was a gray. Okay, which would have meant what? That either the gray had the biological ability to step itself in and out of the visible light spectrum of the human being, or it was using a technology like ultra stealth technology, or excuse me, quantum stealth technology, allowing that being to not be visible. Either way, we can't see these motherfuckers a lot of the times when we experiencing these things. And if we can see them, it's limited visibility. And not just because it's dark in your room, because not everybody sleeps with their lights off. So sometimes you'll experience it when the lights are on. Sometimes you can experience it when it's daytime and you still can't barely see these motherfuckers, or they will appear as some type of shadowy, translucent, warping type being, which may not be the being, it just may be the cloak. Because some people say that they did look and see and they saw this. You understand? Now, if you do this and you show this to a Christian and ask, what do you see? All right, they'll see a demon. The grays and the demons look dead on one another. The ones that they call them grays and all these different races of beings, you look at them, they look like the demons that they put in the movies. You see them big black eyes, the gray skin complexion, and the big ass head. All right, and the aggressive nature. So when people talking, my point of all of this is when people are speaking about being probed, which I've experienced it myself, so I know people ain't crazy. When you're talking about that probing, okay, two things or more could be being spoken about here. One, it could literally be, that's not it. It could literally be a phallus, all right? Meaning a penis. It could literally be a penis because you have incubi, okay, or incubuses, as somebody might say. You have the incubus and you have the succubus, okay? You have incubi, succubi, all right? Reason why you have those two different names because you're talking about two different types of genders and genitalia. So when people say, "Oh, spirit beings don't have the genitalia," they don't. Yes, they do. You just don't know what you're talking about. And again, when you say spirit, you have that word has been removed from the realm of sense. Okay, people don't know what it means anymore. What you're trying to say is interdimensional, meaning these beings exist within another dimension, even if you're speaking about the dimension of the state of observation you're in. So you're not able to see them because they're either cloaked or they're existing in that ultraviolet light realm, or even beneath that in the radio wave reality, the microwave reality, infrared reality. Who knows? Either way, they don't exist within your visible light spectrum to you, meaning you're not able to see them. Somehow, they're still able to tangibly affect reality, okay, to certain degrees. That's why you got movies like Paranormal Activity attempting to explain that, okay? The only thing is the rarity of them being able to affect you physically. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. You got some people talking about they woke up, there was a scratch on them. How many people experienced that? You woke up, you had a big ass scratch on you or scratches on you, and you're trying to figure out where it came from. Look like some shit done cut you with a nail. All right? Or some people woke up, they had like blemishes on them as if they had been burned and all kind of stuff. So people do wake up, and it's not saying that, you know, it happened because of some spirit. You could have did it on accident, or you could have done it on accident. Either way, all right, or unconsciously, it still happens. So there is a possibility that they do affect what they call tangible or material reality within the visible light spectrum we're able to observe. Is just rare. So most of the time, where they're able to catch people at and extract from them and do all these other things is when they're already sedated in that sleep state, okay, naturally, and then they're transitioning, and then people are able to experience that. So it may not just be they're here to collect DNA samples and all that other stuff. They may literally be using human beings for a food source, all right, or an energy source. Who knows? And it doesn't always have to be extraterrestrial. It could be governments and agencies on your planet that have certain technologies that allow for them to go in undetected and do this. Either way, the probing is real. Whatever it is, it's real and it does happen. It could be a phallus or it could be some type of machine, okay, or utensil, whatever you want to call it. They could be probing you to collect samples, or they could be probing you to collect samples. All right. Or it could be literally human beings sometimes have sex with interdimensional beings and people don't want to talk about it. Maybe I should say it a different way. Sometimes interdimensional beings have sex with humans and people don't want to talk about it. You see, meaning you'll be laying there resting, and all of a sudden you're feeling something. It is not just a sensation. You know what it is because you're a human and you're an adult. You understand what that is, and then people don't want to talk about it because nobody wants to be called crazy or to sound crazy. But I'm telling you, if you were to talk about it, you will realize how many people actually have the experience. They just don't think they're allowed to speak on it. Not in this society, or especially in this climate where everybody's being called crazy, especially the ones who waking up. You see? So again, it's not just monsters or monsters inks. There might be a life form, and there may be a lot of them here. And that may be who y'all are seeing. So don't think just demons, like, you know what I'm saying, like we're children talking about what the Christians and all this stuff been taught without having substantial, not only just substantial evidence or experience, also being able to substantiate what it would be in reality. You understand? Not just some spirit woo-woo realm. Speaking of woo-woo, there is a vibration, okay, or a vibrational warping effect that takes place, or warping sensation that occurs when you experience sleep paralysis. Does anybody know what that is? I looked into it, I looked into it again. They don't have anything for that. What is the warping? Why do we feel and hear? Woo, 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 woo. And not even just that. Why do you feel the wave? It don't start in the brain. You can feel it coming from your feet on up, all right, or from your head on down. But you'll feel the wave of it, and then you know. And let me tell you what they don't speak of. You can feel, let's say this is you. You can feel something descend onto you at times. So not only do you feel the waves, it's as if the body is sending a message to you that something is in your presence before it even makes contact to you on that quote unquote tactile level or contact with you. You can feel it, and then you feel that very being or whatever it is literally descend onto you. And what's interesting is you can feel it before it gets to you. So it seems as though when you're in that state, your ability to perceive and feel goes outside of the body, as if you have a magnetic field or aura, which could be what you're feeling with that vibration. Again, I don't know. However, I've had the experience, and I know what I'm saying is true, that you can feel something walk or come into your vicinity or your aura or your magnetic field or your human atmosphere. And it sits on your chest or it wraps itself around you. Sometimes it's a snake-like being. It ain't always what they say about the one that's like this, the humanoid type gray. Sometimes it's like this. You go watch that movie Devil Conspiracy, The Devil Conspiracy. They showed you a being that was attempting to incarnate it, so it looked like that. You see, that brings me to the next point, because it's not just the visual. It's not, okay, so you got the visual. You got the auditory. All right, then you have the tactile. And then you have inner. I'm going to put inner, okay? There's an inner body experience. And the inner body experience, or the inner experiences or sensation, is you can feel like worm-like structures, okay, or beings swarming and squirming around in you. That's one of the ways I used to tell people I've pulled parasites, or what I called astral parasites, out of my body, all right, using my astral body, if you want to call it that, or my other body that exists within this same type of state. And I did this during sleep paralysis. So you feel these types of beings, all right? You'll feel them in your neck squirming around. You'll feel them in your stomach squirming around. Those are the most, sometimes in the arms. But the main places you'll feel these beings is the stomach, the neck, and the arms. And you can reach in with that hand that isn't your physical hand, quote unquote, and you can pull these beings out. And one thing I observed when you attempt to pull these beings out is they will tug for dear life. They want to survive. So whoever these or whatever these beings are, they are instinctual. You understand that? Now, I remember seeing, because I would look for people, I said, who knows this? I did this when I was younger, at 16, 17, 18 years old. I was looking for who spoke on these astral parasites. And I found one person, I can't remember their name, but they were selling a product. They were talking about you get rid of them with wormwood, all that other stuff. I'm like, what can you tell me about the fact that I was able to reach in and pull the shit out by myself? You understand? And sometimes these beings are so lengthy. Listen, y'all remember the clown? Some of y'all know where I'm going. Remember the clown with his trick? When he was able to pull something out of his mouth? Y'all remember that? And he could pull and pull and pull and pull and pull and pull and pull, and it kept coming, kept coming, kept coming. And he kept pulling, kept pulling, kept coming. Say, when does it stop? Remember that rainbow thing? Okay, cool. I've done that before with these. And they keep you can bring them up through your mouth and you pull, and it take a long ass time. I mean, it take a long time sometimes, and you just pull it and pull it and pull it. I don't even know where they go. I just know they're no longer, when they no longer connected to your body, they go, and they either, I've seen some of them seep into the floor. All right, I've seen some of them like disperse. Okay, but once they disconnect, that's over. They're not able to just reconnect. Unless you're pulling and pulling and pulling and you never get to the end point, guess what it's able to do? It just goes right back. Remember, I told you we go take it to another level. Some of y'all like, huh? This is sleep paralysis? You want me to talk? Then I'll talk. If you want, if you just want the regular stuff, listen, I told you I studied the sleep paralysis realm. I don't experience sleep paralysis and say, oh no, what do I do? I know exactly what to do. I know what I can do. I know if I don't feel like it, I'm not going to go through it. I don't know what they mean you can't stop it. Yes, you can. This is a gift. It's not a curse. All right, cool. Because I was able to study that otherworldly realm, okay, if you want to call it that, using sleep paralysis and astral projection. We'll get into that eventually. Okay, so if you don't disconnect whatever this would be coming out of your being, and sometimes it's multiple streams. It ain't just like one of them. It's like a lot of them, like spaghetti. I know it's like, again, this will be graphic. But, you know, I know there's a lot of it's like got that like liquidy kind of, yeah, it could be disgusting. But you got to keep pulling and pulling and pulling. And then eventually they'll be disconnected from you. And then this is from my whole, everything true, my own experience. After you rise up after that, you will feel relief. Like you see the certain type of movies where somebody's possessed and they don't know to what extent they're possessed or that they're possessed. And then you take whatever was in them up out of them. And then they're like, whew, like I didn't even know that was there. Exactly. You can go in and find certain things and your body will help you to track them down because you'll feel their motion in that state. Because you are experiencing a heightened state of awareness in another type of state where the rest of the body is shut down and all you have is the ability to feel the vibrations of your body. You can feel, you know what I'm saying, the warping. You can feel the blood flow. You feel all of that. You see what I'm explaining to you? So I was able to grab in, reach in, and grab whoever these instinctual beings are that want to survive. All right? So it's possible that these could be the souls of parasites. Do I know that? I don't know that. What I reasoned is that, well, if I'm pulling this out, then the same way I got a soul, maybe whatever parasites are in my body also have a soul. So I think it's possible to get rid of parasites by reaching into your body during the sleep paralysis state and pulling them out. And I think that the more you know things like that, your body will have cycles where you will go through the sleep paralysis state to be able to consciously get rid of certain things that are inside your being if they are latched onto you that are not supposed to be there. All right. I'll go as deep as to say I had an ex that left an imprint of herself in my being. And I didn't know it was there. It took about 2 years for me to know that it was there. How did I know it was there? Because during sleep paralysis, where you get this. Some of y'all may not know what I'm saying, but there is a certain type of taste that these beings come with. All right, or demonic beings, or even soul tie imprints, whatever you want to call them. There's a taste. If they're lower vibratory, they leave it's like a metallic taste, or it's like tasting sulfur, if you can imagine that. Okay, it's not burning, but it's a metallic taste. Even though some of these beings, if you were to try to reach up out of your body and push them off of you, they burn. When you're pushing them off, and what do you mean reach out of your body? Exactly. Remember, you can't move your physical body, as they call it, during sleep paralysis. So you can still move the other body. You with me? So I'm able to reach, and I tried this, and I've tried it over and over again. Them beings are too strong in that realm. If they're on you, you can't push them off. You can only fight them if they're not connected to you or sitting on you. But from my experience, you're not able to push them off, because no matter how hard you push, they push back and they burn. They have a stinging sensation. They're like a smokeless fire. These beings are real. Okay. So I had an ex, and she left the imprint, and I didn't know she left the imprint. I wouldn't even known that this was possible. I had the sleep paralysis experience. And it's like, I don't know how to explain. If you've seen Harry Potter, where you see that smoke, okay, and the faces that be in the smoke with the skull kind of thing, and like it'd be a lot of them. Like another movie, I think it was either The Devil's Advocate, something like that, where you'll see faces, but it kind of abstract or blended in with abstract thing. It was similar to that. There was a smoke, a black smoky mist, okay, kind of like the black and white effect in that particular area, in that respective area. It was black and white, okay. That was what the ex appeared as, and her face turned and formed from the smoke. And I had to distance myself from the smoke. It was hard. I had to push the smoke downward to the bottom of my feet to get the imprint off. So I'm telling you, when people talk about all this, it's real. I just think that it requires experience to actually know what you're saying and to find resolves for certain things. Okay, but I think scientists, that they're missing the mark by miles. Okay, they're missing it by miles. There's a lot more to this thing than what people want to talk about. So that key thing is not just visual, it's not just auditory, it's not just tactile. Sometimes you can literally feel things moving inside of your being. So not something touching you externally and you're hallucinating. What the fuck is that? And why am I able to reach into my body without using my hand? I'm using another hand that I'm looking at it. I can't even see it. It just looks like the same type of thing. It's translucent. So I'm not able to really see it, but I can make out the warping. If you can imagine the Predator from the Alien versus Predator franchise, all that. You see how you can still see them, but it's like you can't see them. You see what I'm saying? They be right there. Okay, it's kind of like that. When the same type of effect, the hazy would be the best way to say it. That hazy effect, that's how my hand looked, but I could still see my hand. And I'm able to reach into my body. Sometimes I'm able to stand up out of my body during sleep paralysis. And again, we'll get to that too, because that's, like I said, I think it's a lesser degree of astral projection. I think it's an introduction to it, or the ability to cross over into it, from my experience. Okay, so yeah, it's not just auditory, it's not just visual, not just tactile. Sometimes the shit is inner being based. Okay, I wish I knew the word for it. Or you could say internal, but it's not really necessarily that type, but it's internal. Okay, another thing, aligning with what I was speaking about earlier, those sexual attacks. That's reality, and I don't hear the scientists talking about that. So you will have, or do have, people who speak on sexual attacks or sexual assaults during sleep paralysis. So what do you mean, scientists talking about, oh, it's just, your brain and you're having anxiety, so you think something's sitting on your chest, but it's not. What about the sexual assault part? What about people saying a being was literally in their ear, saying all kind of demonic things to them? You understand? Taunting them while they attack them. What about that? What about the fact that it doesn't matter if you're a male or female, that these beings will still attack you? What about that? And where will the conversation begin? It's hard for them to have that conversation, because then you have to entertain what they're calling the supernatural. No, it's not even just the quote unquote supernatural. How about the fact that these are life forms, people or beings that have access to human beings that are being told there's nothing they can do about it but sit through it? It's already a lie. There are so many different ways that you can stop that sleep paralysis from coming on. So many different ways you can end it. But it seems as though people are just being told it's in the mind and all they can do is just go through it. You're not really telling them how to deal with the shit when it's happening. What about when it occurs? What do you do? Just sit there. That doesn't even make sense. You see, there's always something you can do. So one of the main things I used to teach when I was in high school, because people used to ask me about it, right? Literally, we'd be in the middle of class, and I tell them, they say, why do you think I keep having that experience? I said, do you watch pornography? Do you did? I used to do my best to tell people what they were going through, or why, or the possibility of why they were experiencing it. But I tell people, you never have to submit. That's a lie. You never have to submit. You want to go deeper? You don't want to submit, because if you're dealing with an incubus and this being is attacking you sexually or interacting with you sexually, the same way somebody can leave their residue within you or around you or on you after a sexual encounter with just a regular human being, what you think will happen if you have a sexual encounter with an incubus or a succubus and they ejaculate, or there's orgasm, or all these other what do you call it? It could be interdimensional fluids, whatever you want to say. I don't know. All I'm saying is I've experienced certain things. I know what people are dealing with. You don't want to submit to that, because then you're just subject to or prone to whatever is left when they're finished with using you, the human being, which they just see as a resource. So never submit. Okay, always when you're experiencing it and you see that something's going, wiggle your toes, wiggle your hands. Okay, move your eyes around. Start small. You'll be able to take control over the limbs that are attached to these phalanges. Okay, you'll be able to take control of. You'll be able to move your arms, and always get up. Always get up out of it. Don't even be like me, because I always be trying to figure out, is there a way to fight the motherfucker? I always be trying. But I don't know why, but if they're engaged with your being in any way, they're already too strong. Why? I don't know, because that shit lame as hell. I wouldn't come back and tell you no shit like that. I'll come back and tell you, motherfucker tried to sit on me, I slapped shit out of him. I can't tell you that. People be asking how come I swing so slow in your dream state. Listen, you can swing as fast as you want to. These beings are seemingly protected by some type of layer of electromagnetism. And it burns. So that's smokeless fire to me. I think these are the jinns that the Quran talks about. I think these are the demons that the Bible spoke about that was able to possess certain people. And when they saw Jesus, they were like, nigga, we already know who you is. Leave us alone. We about to go dunk ourselves in these in these pigs, and we finna swim into the ocean and drown ourselves, nigga. Like, you know how you know how threatening you gotta be to make a nigga kill himself by incarnating into another being lesser of itself and drowning itself as that being together? You didn't think I was gonna add the together part. They niggas decided all at once. This wasn't Heaven's Gate. Them niggas decided all at once that they was gonna incarnate into pigs, dip themselves into water and breathe it, and die, just so they wouldn't have to. Nigga, we already know who you is. We finna go ahead and get the fuck. I'm fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, listen, they don't. I don't think they know. I don't think they're really aware of what people are going through. Other than that, I think that there are certain people in government that know about this, and they just don't talk about it. You see what I'm saying? I think it's a business. And I think it's an interdimensional business. And these are just my thoughts. All right. So that leads it to the other point. Demons. Scientists get that wrong. No, you're not going to tell me these demons are a figment of my imagination. Okay? Because, first of all, I didn't grow up on horror movies. Started having sleep paralysis type experiences, demonic experiences at a very young age. So I did not have horror movie influence that caused me to see these beings or see this being up under my bed and it got purple bright eyes and is leaning out, and I'm 4 years old and I'm screaming to my Umi, and she come in and she turn the lights on, all right, or my mother. She comes in, she turns the lights on. There's nothing there other than toys up under my bed. You're not going to tell me I hallucinated bright purple eyes. I'm looking at it and my vocal cords work and I'm screaming. That's not even sleep paralysis. So demons or Interdimensional beings are real, per my experience. So no, that's not just made up. They're lying. Okay, and I test it. So I'm not in fear or anxiety when I'm testing these things. These beings exist. They are real. Where they come from, I don't know. What I can say, let me tell you something else. This started happening, it ended around like 2023, but this started happening in around 2020, 2021. Okay? This would be me. I would lay out on my floor. That's how I would go to rest, literally like that. I would lay out on my floor and I had carpet. Okay? And I would experience something pushing up on the carpet. So if you can imagine, whatever the fuck was coming from beneath these realms, when I would enter into my rest state, it's almost like they got a notification say, hey, y'all, you sleep. And they would literally push up on the carpet. You know what pushing up on the carpet would feel like. Not only do you know what pushing up on the carpet would feel like, you also would know that there are hands involved because you know what hands feel like. These people are lying. They're either lying on purpose or they're lying because they have no idea who these beings are, how they're able to extract from humans, where they come from, or they do, and they don't want to talk about it because it will validate religion and they're trying to separate themselves from religion, or it'll validate them crazy people, and you have to explain why you put all them crazy people in the hospital, and they were saying these things and they weren't crazy. You see what I'm saying? They could see. They were actually more advanced, but you try to make them feel like they were degenerates. So I've experienced that where these beings come up out of the ground and they'll push up to get up here. And they literally pushed up and I'm on the carpet. You got to explain to me how my carpet is moving. You see? That's why I say interdimensional, where it's affecting the state that you're in, but not the state that you're in. Meaning your body, if somebody walked in, they wouldn't see your body moving, but you're still feeling the carpet moving. So the realm, like you go and watch the movie Constantine, you'll see that when he was walking in hell, it was still what this world looks like. It was just a different state of observation. And in that state of observation, he was able to see all these demons I'm telling you about. Man, this shit is real. Hell is real too. We'll do a class on that. But hell is real from experience. All right? Notice I'm saying experience. So if you don't have the experience, I'm not debating that you don't have it. And you're not debating me on mine. But from experience, and I can explain it. Hell is real. So whoever these beings are, they come from the lower realms. Like when Rumpelstiltskin got mad. Notice when Rumpelstiltskin got mad, when she finally figured that nigga name out in the story, and he thought she would never figure this shit out, and she had a nigga spy on his ass, and he had to be a dumb demon. Didn't know he was being tailed. Nigga still walk around, I'm Rumpelstiltskin. Nigga, if I have a deal like that on the table or a bet, I'm not gonna say my name till the fuck I get up out of there till my shit come through. Nigga walking around, I'm Rumpelstiltskin, because I'm Rumpelstiltskin. You'll never know my name. I'm Rumpelstiltskin. Like, oh, you say Rumpelstiltskin? Like, no, yes. That nigga got mad when he found out that she knew his name. That nigga stomped a hole in the ground and went to where 607 Aunt said he was from. He said he from the lower realms. Okay, that nigga went down into the depths of hell. What do you mean stomped the hole in the ground and went down into it? And why did these jinn or these demons jump into the pit to go down? They went down through the waters. You see what I'm saying? No, these beings are from the lower realms. They call it Naraka. We'll talk. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Hell. We'll talk about hell. Hell. Shit, hell. If you want to, hell. We'll do it hell. All right. So I think they off. Demons are real. You can call them what you want to call them. All that. Demons are just, demons is just day moon. Tell Bobby him, shut his stupid ass up. Shut your wiggly body ass up. No, the fuck, they're not just demons. Demons, those are our spirit guides. We make friends with our demons. You make friends with your demons. You don't know what a demon is if you say and make friends with them. You ain't seen the movies. The movies tell the truth. Y'all got to make y'all mind up. Either they tell the truth in the movies or they don't. Either it's about karmic retribution because you think everybody that's in Hollywood believes in that, or it's not. They don't. Right? Either way, they still tell the truth in the movies. They'll put it out there. They'll talk about what people really went through. They'll talk about the exorcist, all this other stuff. And then these niggas say, well, we just make friends with him because you're a devil. That's what a devil would say. That's what a demon would say. Now, I'm not talking about coming to grips with certain things you need to work on in life. Damn, can we just say that? I make friends with my demons. Yo, how about you say what you say? I make friends with my demons. My turn. I'm working on myself. You see how I didn't lose any of myself from that statement? You see how I didn't turn darker in my eyes? You see how I'm still me? Stop entertaining this rhetoric, this damned rhetoric. No, you don't make friends with demons. Demons are real. These are violent beings. Why? I don't know. I don't even know why some of them are so aggressive. Let me tell you what listen, they don't tell you this. They talk about tactile, right? They talk about the touching, the tactile. They don't talk about a tactile. Because I'd have been attacked by some of these beings that feel like they hit your ass with a towel. You know what I'm saying? He's like, what the fuck kind of, I'm going to attack the towel. You sound like what you are. Yo, listen, I've been punched in my head by these beings. I've been punched in my back by these beings. I've been stabbed. I've been all kinds. I say, who the fuck demons is these? Don't tell me I hallucinate. Say, I wonder how I feel like to be stabbed. No, nigga, nobody goes to sleep. Some people might, but especially now. Some nigga might be Googling that shit now somewhere in the world. Either way, I didn't have that on my mind. I was having a good day. Motherfucker beat me up. How the fuck I'm gonna get my ass whooped? So you're not gonna tell me that it's just touching. No, these beings are aggressive. That's one thing that's common amongst all of them. They're aggressive, even passive aggressive. You just be like, move. It'd be like, no, move. I just feel like you want me to go, but I'm not going. They be passive aggressive too. You see? So, and let me tell you something else. I done tried everything in the book. This is where I done tested it at. I'm not attempting to attack Christians with this. I just want to tell y'all something, okay? Pastor Lion, you can listen, I screamed Jesus at the top of my not lungs because you can't really scream, but I scream. You still can say it, but only you can hear it, right? So it sounds kind of empty, if that makes sense. But I've screamed Jesus. I done said, God help me. Meaning I done tested these statements out to see if niggas will pop up for you. No, it just be you and whoever is in the room. You see what I'm saying? Now, it might work in your dream state. That's different because you may be able to turn stuff around because of that. But them demons will sit there and laugh at you if you call on Jesus or and they keep extracting. You have to get out of the state. You can't be calling on niggas. You see what I'm saying? Now, listen, that's just my experience. You may have a different experience. So try it. That's how you can test it. Next time you have sleep paralysis, remember what I said. Remember the man phase one? Just, I know it's kind of weird because it's kind of like a personal thing. Like you're going through your stuff. So like, why would you want to think about me? Just if you do have another sleep paralysis, just, I don't know how that's going to come out, but like think of me. And when you think of me, just remember that I said you could test it. So test it. Don't believe me. Be like, Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even making fun. I'm saying, like, really, if you believe in it, call out them names, call out them tones. They don't care. The pastor lied. You see what I'm saying? So there's some of y'all, don't call me either, because I'll probably deal with my own thing. Hey, yo, Faze. Yo, what? Help me. Nigga, help me. They sit on me. You know what I'm saying? That's the most passive-aggressive attack a nigga could ever do. Just come and sit on your chest. Like, nigga, what the fuck are you doing? I be getting mad. Y'all be talking to these demons like, please. I be getting mad. I cuss demons out. I'm like, man, what the fuck is you doing, bro? Get your lame ass on. Get up. Because they won't move. I'm telling you, it's different. It's different. Also, another thing is you can move. At times, you are able to move during sleep paralysis. I experienced that. You can move your arms. You can move. I'm not talking about the inner body. I'm saying the actual body can move at times, just not fully. All right? What else? Other than that, they don't talk a lot about the pain. They say discomfort, but they don't really speak about pain that these beings inflict on people. I remember when I had to be like this, I'm about to graduate, so I was around like 2017. 2017, I had an experience where I was laying on the couch. I was at my stepfather's house. I was laying on his couch, and one of these beings reached up from my back and grabbed my heart. and I could feel their claws seep into my heart, and they pulled me down beneath my body. Oh, that's another thing. They don't talk about how during sleep paralysis you can sink. You can sink. Niggas say, what? Yes. I mean, literally like the movie, Drag Me to Hell. You can sink during sleep paralysis beneath the ground, beneath your floor. And sometimes beings pull you. And my thing be like, if this is happening to me, I know how to get back to my body. How many people, I don't know, maybe I'm going too deep. Something telling me to stop. Maybe this is too deep because I done went to a whole nother part of it. And I don't want to scare people. I'm going to keep going. I just don't want it to be like too wild for people to understand. Or too scary for people. I don't want it to be too scary. There's a possibility that some people have been snatched down out their body, their souls, and they didn't wake up. And I think the only way that's possible is if you're in their frequency, meaning they have access to you. So pornography, all the other stuff I was talking about, dark, negative thoughts, all of that, I think that opens you up to be able to be accessed by these beings. But the motherfucker tried to drag me to hell. I know I have a switch. I call it a switch in my brain. I know how to jump myself back up to my body. And I fought and pushed this being because I was outside of the body. I fought and pushed this being up off me. We fell. We were falling. Listen, okay, I'm on a couch. I can feel the couch. I know I'm on the couch. I know I'm in my stepfather's living room. Whatever happened, this being reached up. I felt the vibrations, reached up, grabbed my heart. I felt the claws dig into my heart. And it pulled me down from my heart, like using my heart. And I was fighting it. And I had to fly back and jump back to my body after kicking the shit off me when it was still trying to grab onto my ankles. You see? Yeah, exactly. You can't Google that. So you can sink during sleep paralysis. And this isn't just from my experience. I got brothers and sisters. I remember one of my sisters told me that they was having an experience and they sank and they was trying to hold themselves up by their body. You know what I'm saying? Literally hold on to their body, but they was sinking into the floor. Right? So you don't just sink into the floor. I done been down there in them levels, beneath the ground. So that's another thing I would just tell people to be mindful of. Don't be afraid. Remember, I told you fear won't save you. Fear doesn't help. Being afraid, they'll like that. Now, I've never been afraid, so I'm not speaking on experience for that. Even I just know fear won't help because I don't be having the fear. You got to know what to do. You got to know how to do it. And if you're not ready for that type of stuff, again, I gave you the way to escape sleep paralysis. You see what I'm saying? So you don't have to deal with it. Again, I'm one of them ones that study them realms. All right? But again, I want to highlight more than just that. It's not always bad. There are still some type of benevolent experiences. Benevolent, beneficent, benevolent. Yeah. There are still some type of benevolence. When you see elephants, it's good. That's all I'm trying to say. If it's an elephant, all right, then that's what it's good. There's benevolent experiences. There are benevolent beings. It's not always negative. Okay, sometimes there's positive experiences. Now, I haven't experienced or met anybody that was able to talk about the positive side. Myself, I've had those experiences with positivity, with ones where I thought they were the Etherians because they don't look like, kind of like, they look dark, but they have a colorful outline to them. And there's like, you can see it, like when you close your eyes and you see them symbols and the patterns and shapes and colors. That's what the inside of their body look like. I done seen them that a few times. Okay, so they had it's a presence. There's an awareness too that comes with these different states of consciousness. Sometimes a higher awareness, so I could pick up on the benevolence of that being. You see? So I've seen good things. I've seen a lot of good things. And another one of the good things is being able to explore and study and get up out of your body. I would tell you to keep growing and ascending in your mentality, because there's this thing, and we'll talk about it when we get to the astral projection degree. But there's this thing where you'll be here, and your goal is to have enough energy to get beyond this band. All right? And sometimes you'll be trying and you'll go right back down. And you'll jump again and you'll be too heavy. You see, that's reality. So you want to keep becoming lighter. You don't want to be doing all these things, heavy things, anything that you're feeling that you're supposed to be practicing cessation to get rid of. Okay, go ahead and get rid of it. All right. When you're able to raise up off of the ground and fly into the stars, you're doing great. And you can merit where your being is if you have to keep running to jump, even to get to a certain level to maintain flight. That's because you got too much literally holding you down or weighing you down. This is from experience. Okay? So if you want to meet more benevolent beings, a lot of them exist in what you call higher planes. Higher planes doesn't always mean higher, okay, as in up there or out there. Sometimes it's right in your room, but you have to be able to access it, meaning you have to have the mental ability to access it, the mental state to access it. How's a simple way to say this is, if you got a bag of trash in your house, you're gonna see flies. Okay, especially if you leave the door open, you got food in there, there'll be flies. Okay, flies are attracted to the trash. You know what I'm saying? The bullshit, literally. Okay, if you want more peaceful experiences, you clean your house out so you don't have to deal with them flies. You see that? You want better experiences, you got to attract better. So even sleep paralysis isn't always bad. That, I think, is because I used to have these thoughts when I was younger. I think more people experience demons because more people are vibrating where the demons are. They're accessible. But once a lot of y'all, you see, go back in my page and you'll see I pinned somebody's comment where they said, I used to have sleep paralysis, but then I started listening to your teachings. I listened to Dr. Malachi York. I stopped having it as much. Right? Listen, I don't even remember the last time I had sleep paralysis. I just don't. But when you keep growing and you changing and you're shifting your habits and things like that, you're taking more control over your being. You see what I'm explaining to you? So there's a chance, because you're growing and expanding and progressing, you won't have these experiences. And if you do, you'll have more of the positive experiences. All right? I think we did a good build. Other than that, what else? Yeah, I think we done pretty good build. Any questions so far? Let's get into some questions. I think the build was good. Sleep paralysis. Questions. Any questions? Let's see where we at. What exactly is sleep paralysis? Sleep paralysis is basically you're paralyzed in your dream or sleep state. Okay? So another way to say it is sleep wake transitional paralysis or wake sleep transitional paralysis. That varies whether you're dealing with what's called hypnopompic sleep paralysis or hypnagogic sleep paralysis. Hypnagogic is when you're going from being awake to sleep, and hypnopompic is when you're going from being asleep to awake. So basically, you're half asleep and you can't move. What if the demons or life forms appear as your mate? I don't know. I've seen something. I told you I had the X. where it was similar to that. I don't know what it means. It could be an imprint that has developed, okay, or evolved using you as a source. So even a simple idea or a suggestion can evolve into an actual demon or form, even if it's in your mind. You see what I'm saying? That could plague you. All right, a mental parasite, if you would. But what if the demon appears as you? I don't know. What if it could be manipulation? All right. Let's say it could be simple. You're attempting to abstain from sexual experiences, and it could appear as your mate and is attempting to initiate sex or initiate a sexual encounter, but your thing is to abstain. All right. Then that could be, again, trickery or manipulation of the mind. That could be done through technology, or some beings may have the telepathic biological ability to cause you to see things that aren't actually there. So ultimately, they've either shapeshifted into your mate, they've caused you to think that you're seeing your mate, all right, or it could be another imprint that's evolved or developed as your mate. Do some of them try to take you away? Yeah, I was telling you that. Go back and listen to it. You'll see they try to take you. They try to take you up out of here. Some of them, literally. I stole from someone when I was 19, and next day I had sleep paralysis. That's interesting. Was that sleep paralysis when you brought back that being I trapped, or was that lucid? That's another thing. So let me say that real quickly. That was a real thing. Listen, it wasn't even sleep paralysis. So I went into the dream state, and I was projecting, astral projecting, out of the dream state into one of my old neighborhoods, and I ran into what I thought could have been another version of myself. Simply, either way, it chased me, tried to attack me, kill me, and I outran it, but it knew every move. It moved on angles, so I had to fly faster than what I thought was the speed of thought to get back to my body, which was what I call the switch. So I had to fly and switch, even though it was still using like these blades to chop at my ankles as I was flying. But I was able to get back to my body. But when I got back to my body, everything was dark. All right, I called for my Umi. She came in, she turned the light on, and she was talking to me about it. I was telling her about it, and then I woke up again. So some of y'all had that experience, right, where you don't woke up out of a dream, and you thinking that you're awake, but you're not awake, you're still sleeping, and then you wake up again, and then you wake up again. Yeah, it took me a few times to get to the actual place where I was, all right, laying down, and then the lights were actually off. And I remember going to rest with my light on, so I'm thinking, okay, possibly somebody just came in and turned the light off. But no, the lights were off on the block, okay? Meaning the whole power had went out. And my Umi, when I did actually get up physically and walk in, all I saw was my Umi, my mother, sitting at her desk with her computer, and the only light was on the laptop. And everything else was dark. I said, why are the lights off? She said the power went out. And she said that when the power went out, the curtain blew either right before, I think she said right before the power went out, the curtain blew because there was a curtain hanging separating the rooms. And she heard some things drop in the kitchen. And she said she got up to sage, and she was saging the house when she saw that, and she went toward the kitchen, and she said something said to her, don't you come in here. You see what I'm explaining to you? And she was speaking out saying, whatever you are, whoever you are, you got to get up out of here. Right? And even I think she said even one of the neighbors said, yo, what just happened? All the power went out in the block. Either way, whoever or whatever came through to do that, it wasn't the paralysis. That was some type of interdimensional rift. You see what I'm saying? And yeah, see, that's my mama now. She got a lot of those experiences with me where we done seen all kind of stuff. I don't know how or what, but I think I traveled so quick that it ripped some shit, and motherfucker was able to follow me here, but it didn't have a body. You see what I'm saying? There was nobody to embody. The next day, I remember when the sun came up, she had opened the door, she was letting the sun, all this stuff. But yeah. Are they able to attack children? They do attack children. Is sleep paralysis similar to the movie Ghosts by Whoopi Goldberg? I haven't seen that movie, not that I remember. Can you have multiple layers of it? One time I had it, and multiple times I got up, but I was actually still in the same spot. Exactly. I kind of spoke about that with a dream state. Yes, I've experienced that too. Last time it happened, before last night, I was talking to them, and they was trying to get me to go with them. Yeah, I don't know who was trying to get you to go. I know they will do that. Occasionally, either they'll take you up out of your body, or there are beings that will offer for you to leave this realm. I've experienced that. Can you speak on some of your benevolent experiences? Yeah. When I was in Sarah M. Hardin, it might have been 2015, 2016. I was laying on the couch, the same house that I was just talking to you about. I was laying on my couch and I heard sirens. I was experiencing the waves, the vibrations, the warping, woo, 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 woo. That sensation came over me. And I heard these sirens and I heard these children laughing like they were running in the house. And I looked up to my ceiling, and there was a humanoid lit up being that was circling around my ceiling, beings, and secondary colors, all of the spiritual sounding stuff, all of that was present. So yeah, that, and also certain times where I saw those what I thought were Etherians. I don't know what they are, but I know I've seen something similar to it with Dr. Melchizedek York's doctrine and things that he taught, and that was the image in the holy tablets. They looked similar to that, but they weren't bright. They were dark, but they had a benevolent presence, meaning it felt like, you see what I'm saying? Either they were communicating feelings of peace to me, or I was feeling peaceful, but I didn't get the whole these are dark beings or demons. I got this. This is a watcher, and that's a part of their cloaking that you're not able to see them. You see, they could look just like you. It could be technology. So, but yeah, that's one of the main benevolent experiences. Other than that, it's so many. Just being able to, okay, I've had experiences that it's okay. Let's say I went to rest. This is also around like 2021, 2022, where I started realizing I can do this. I'll go to rest, I'll lay out on my back, and I'll put a water bottle. Like I used to have water jugs and water bottles surrounding me, partially because I was doing so much traveling and experiencing so many different types of demons and angels, all kind of stuff on the way, that I realized demons don't like water. So I would surround myself with water. And if a demon tried to latch on, I would reach out of my body into the water bottle or the water jug, and I'd be able to stream the water literally through the bottle into my being. Now, would you walk in and see that? No. That's another thing that I think is interesting, that I was able to push my hand through the plastic to get to the water, but you know what I'm saying? I could touch and connect with the water, but I wasn't able to, I didn't touch the plastic. So what I realized is that the water was able to stream through. So I think it might have something to do with elements. Okay, but the water was able to stream through. Not, I didn't touch or make contact with the plastic itself. And if I am able to, right, which I've been able to do that, like touch cups and things like that, I'm also able to move through certain things like the plastic to get to the water. But that was a benevolent experience. Being able to stream, listen, there's nothing like it. Being able to stream water into your body through your hand. And then the demons that were trying to latch on, they don't like water. I don't know why, but they don't like water. So anytime some beings were trying to attack my body when I was traveling too far, I would just stream water into my being, and they wouldn't want to stay around. Okay, so that's benevolent. Yep, yep, yep. I put a binding spell on. Exactly. Is it possible for someone to be in a constant state or constant in between state where they can see beings and things? I think it's possible. Yeah. I think that's one of those like clairvoyant, uh, extrasensory perception type things. ESP, we have certain abilities to see beyond the veil. I think it's possible, yeah. Why is it sometimes when you astral travel, there may be extra items around you? I've traveled. Okay, you're asking me astral projecting questions. I think we got a few more levels to get into before we go out and get into the real nitty gritty of astral projection. So I'm not turning your question down. Keep walking. All right, we'll probably do hell tomorrow, the different levels of hell, the history of hell, all of that, and whether or not it's real from my experience and whether or not you had certain experiences. We'll talk about that, bring everybody questions. But we'll get to the astral projection part. We haven't gotten there. I don't want to answer too many of those. Let's have it for that class. Have you ever been to Akashic Records, like seeing your soul records? Akashic Records, I don't think Akashic Records is what people think it is. I think when you saying Akashic, again, Akasha, Akasha, similar to saying astral, it's like saying the ethers or the astral or the stars. And when you saying records, I think that's one of those things like people saying going within. If I were to talk about the Akashic records, I would have to tell you is more of that going within type thing, or you have to be allowed access to certain files and literal documents that allow you to see certain things. Now, I've had an experience where I was completely conscious, like a lucid dream, and I was in a house. I had siblings. I knew I was in a whole nother world. It wasn't just like a dream. And I was timed. And I know I have a timer because my heart will start squeezing. And when I experience that heart squeezing sensation, I know that my dream timer is running out. Okay? So I walked over to a wall. I saw writing on a wall. And I was tapping the wall, touching the wall, and then I was able to open the wall. Okay, like when you looking for something and you find it, I opened the wall, and behind the wall there were huge books glowing green, floating in blackness. Right. So I think there's a possibility that the actual Akashic records may exist between different valves of these states of consciousness or these realms of observation. I think it's possible. What these people have been talking about, they have not been accessing that. All right. I think it's possible to access whatever that would be, but these people ain't been accessing that because all they do is just be talking about shit that you can just look up in Google and all that stuff, regular stuff. And that ain't Akashic records, not from what I grew up on. What I grew up on is when you went to somebody to access the Akashic records, they would tell you things going on in your life, who to look out for. They call names, events, people, just so you can know they was the real deal. And then they'll tell you what something is over here for you and over there for you and certain possibilities of your future. The real psychics didn't just say this is going to happen. The real psychics will put you here in the center and show you paths. Okay? And they say, if you go here, this will happen. If you go here, that'll happen. If you do that, that'll happen. Da, 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 da. So it's not just one future they were giving you. So I think it's possible to access the Akashic records or whatever you want to call it. I don't think people are doing it. And the easiest way to access what people think is the Akashic records would be everything, which is now, which is you being able to see and observe now, the now that you exist in. Now, just because you access this thing that you call the Akashic records doesn't mean you're going to be able to read it. You understand? It could be, you put AR, Akashic records. You could pick the book up. Doesn't mean that when you see what you're seeing, you'll be able to read it. That's why you have people who can read, not just see. You have the seers and you have readers, and then you have people who could do both. So you might go to a seer for certain things, and you might go to a reader for certain things, and then you go to certain people who are able to do both. Okay, and they might not even be masters in one or the other. They might just have that ability centrally. Okay, but just because somebody can see a thing doesn't mean that they can read it. If they walk up on a sign, all right, and the sign has this word right here, and you say, what word is that? Exactly. You can't read it. That could be an extraterrestrial language. You see what I'm saying? Only the ones who have the past experience, okay, the recollection of information to be able to know what that is when they see it will be able to read it. You see, if you've learned the language, let's say that was Mandarin, it's not, but let's say that was Mandarin. If you learned Mandarin, then yeah, you know what that is when you see it. So just being able to access a record ain't enough. You have to be able to read it too. You see? So I've seen a lot of stuff that I think could be certain pockets. I see there's always something behind something. So I think there are a lot of hidden pockets in this universe that could be you looking at it at the wrong place. The shit could be in the bottom of your closet to the left, right? I think there are a lot of hidden pockets. Can people access them? I think it's possible. Good question. Are they? I don't think they are. How do you astral travel? We're going to do a class on that. Actually, we're doing classes on it. So you go back. Hey, everybody, make sure y'all like this video. Make sure you copy and paste the link, send it to people, put it in the group chat, whatever, all the group chats y'all be having. You know what I'm saying? The family group chats, all of that. Share it on your stories, put people on, comment. All right, support what we're doing. We're doing daily classes. Y'all bring. I'm going based off of what y'all want to know. So you bring your questions. I'll be able to keep answering what y'all are asking. So don't think that I'm ignoring what you're saying. I'm saying this will be discussed here, 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 and here. And as we keep going, I don't want to hear none of that phase one is only selling information. That's bullshit. They're liars. Okay, this is, listen. I was telling one of the people, we talk about payment. We keep doing this. We won't have to do fundraisers, anything anyway. We keep doing the information and let YouTube cut the checks. You see what I'm saying? And we'll just keep doing what we're doing and getting the real information out. And you'll have somebody that has experience. I'm not a Google astral projector. I don't experience Google sleep paralysis. I'm not a Google wizard. We have experience with these things. You see what I'm saying? I got experience with Jesus. We can talk about that if you want to. Okay, so yeah, and then you can listen to what I'm saying and you collect the wisdom. Don't just believe it. Collect the wisdom. And let me tell you another thing that's good about this. Because I'm saying it, you are already advancing. When the pure heart speaks, it replicates. So your hearts are being purified. I have a pure heart. So I'm telling you things where experience. I want you to learn these things. I want you to be able to access these things. I want you to be able to be centered. I'm not looking for anything beyond that. You see what I'm saying? You're supposed to transform too, not just me. All right, so we'll get to all the astral projection, all of that. A few more questions. We get out of here. We got 4 more minutes. I would love to get a reading, just not trusting of people. I do readings every now and again. I don't even charge for readings. I know that might sound funny. I don't even charge for readings. People catch me on Instagram. They be like, "Yo, I need a reading." I pull them up and give them a reading. So follow my Instagram, phase one, FAISEONE, 2 underscores, phase one, 2 underscores. And I don't even be really calling it that. I'm just saying this is what people be asking. I say, okay, cool. I don't really, it's a weird thing to start trying to monetize this stuff, even though people do it. Be like, yeah, pay me like $100, I'll give you a reading. Or pay me $50, I'll give you a reading. No, you can get a reading by just walking past me one day and you'll see me, ask me a question. I'll be able to show you certain things, especially in person. But if you want to, catch me on Instagram Live. Pop up. You see what I'm saying? I done did readings for people, a lot of people. And I didn't charge them anything. Gratitude, appreciate you doing this. I'm going to spread the knowledge. Ashe. Ashe. Not just emojis. All right, any other question, though? 3 more minutes. Yeah, I'm talking about people, they get these readings. They're not the same after. They get exposed to something that's beyond me. You mean you're not going to travel around and charge $10,000 for a podcast? Yeah, why would I do that? First of all, I don't trust being around these demons. Niggas still asking me to come to Vegas and do shit with them. I don't. They slow. I'm not a part of your illusion. I'm on a mission. Y'all be catching me doing things that are a part of my mission while I'm on my mission. You see what I'm saying? All the other stuff, that's easy to do. It's easy. Do y'all not think I could literally start a whole new account and take over the internet before the end of this year? Do you think it not? All that stuff be easy. The simple stuff is more of a challenge to get everybody on one accord and get things done, and people are actually changing and transforming, and they're using their brain more. They're less susceptible because of the example you're presenting in real time. You see that? Like I told y'all about that word salad thing, and then I didn't put it together. Somebody was just live, and some niggas came on and used the exact same words from the word salad video. You can't make that up. People are learning while they watching, like while they walking with me. They're like, this nigga just said this. I'm like, I did. Prophecy fulfilled, huh? Nigga said, damn, almost. No, he said every one of those that I had on that video. All of the sayings that they'll say as cop-outs. He said them. I said, that's what I'm telling y'all. This is what they have to say. And then after that, they just say a bunch of words. And then there's nothing. 1 more minute. Is it possible to astral project at will? Okay, we'll get to astral projection. Astral projection is coming. If you're interested in astral projection, keep coming to class daily. All right, turn the notifications on YouTube. Come to class. All right, and you'll learn. I told y'all, if you're listening, I'm teaching astral projection. If you're listening, when I said I can't just, even when I did the astral projection 101 on the Clubhouse days, I had to run through a whole bunch of things for people to know that, before they start. See, so I'm giving it to you just piece by piece. You mentioned interdimensional beings having intercourse with humans. Can a human be birthed physically from this? I don't know. I don't know. I think it's possible that a human being can be hijacked in the womb, right? Meaning a baby can be hijacked. I think that's possible. That you could have a baby inside the womb and something enters into the. I think it's possible. Do I know if an actual physical human being can be birthed from it? Whatever that interdimensional being would be, it would have to still have the ability to ejaculate sperm and go through the process. So it wouldn't necessarily be an interdimensional being coming from another dimension. It could be somebody that's just utilizing the quantum stealth technology. You see what I'm saying? So that's not even beyond science. That's just the science of somebody being invisible. Like the movie Hollow Man. Like when he went in there and attacked that lady, that's a physical person. That ain't no spirit doing that. So it's possible to be speaking in terms of that. The interdimensional part of that would be from the visible light spectrum to other poles or parts of the electromagnetic spectrum, from microwaves to gamma, whoever these beings are being inside those waves or unseen by humans. You see? All right, one more question. I remember being probed and having intercourse with a succubus. Is there a way of cleansing myself from that, especially since I opened that door with pornography? Start with cleansing yourself from pornography. Okay? That requires a lot of discipline. That requires a lot of abstinence. That requires a lot of activity. If I were talking to you specifically, I would tell you that your new goal daily, you personally, your new goal daily is to complete 360 push-ups. And if you don't complete your 360 push-ups, you don't rest. That's your new goal daily. Meaning if you have to do a few here, a few there, 10 here, 20 there, you start with push-ups. Fill your day up with more stuff. Get in the gym. Okay? And if you're going to have relations, it won't be with yourself. You understand? Meaning you have to actually go out and get a woman, get a girl, talk to them, court them, and if you, I'm not saying you don't have a mate. If you don't have a mate, you go and get you a mate. So if you need to express yourself as your sexual nature, it will be more of a quote unquote divine or orderly experience as opposed to something that you have shame for and things like that, which will be disorderly. You see? So start with changing your habits, shifting that around, and outlaw pornography. You have to outlaw it for yourself. That way you won't experience that same type of thing, especially if you observing that it's a problem for you. And you have that awareness that that was the possibility or the possible doorway that allowed for the succubus to enter. You see? So you change your ways, you change your state of being, change what you do daily, all right? Form new habits. You should go running. You should jog daily. Okay? So between being in the gym, you having a 360 push-up limit daily, okay? And running and eating healthy and all that stuff, and changing how you rest. If you rest normally on your back, you may want to rest on your stomach. If you have already got your room set up a certain way, you might want to clean it up and switch it around. Put your bed on the other side of the room. Lay on the floor instead. You know what I'm saying? Set an alarm clock. Stick to what the alarm clock is telling you to do. More discipline. You'll clean yourself, literally, because that whole aura or whatever you want to call it, the human atmosphere will start to shift. Your magnetic field will gain more integrity. More order will be present. That's cleansing. You see what I'm saying? All right. We're going to come back. What we got? How do you remove astral parasites? I know you spoke on it before. The main thing that I saw to remove astral parasites was reach into your body and grab them. So an easy way to onset that is if you were to experience sleep paralysis or enter into certain states like theta state where sleep paralysis is right there at the door, learn how to move with your imagination. Your one finger, move your index finger, then move your middle finger with your imagination, then move your ring finger with your imagination, then move your pinky finger with your imagination. All right, start with that moving the inner finger technique, where you're not physically moving the finger, you're imagining that you are. This will help you, to my knowledge, from my experience, become more familiar with that astral body, okay? Or that solar you, the inner you. When you become more familiar with your astral body and the inner you, you'll be able to feel more of what's happening inside of your being, and that may lead you to be able to better detect whoever or whatever these astral parasites are, okay? Or the souls of real parasites, possibly. All right? Okay, cool. All right, y'all, we just did it. Sleep paralysis. All right? Fear won't save you, okay? I do Sasha, meaning divine love. Peace in the Lamb is truly wonderful. And I'll talk to y'all next time. We'll come back in some hours today, later today. We'll come back and we'll do hell, something about hell. Talk about the levels of hell or something like that. What I want to talk about is let's go into these different, people from experience, what I've had and able to see and all this stuff like that. All right, and then we keep moving. So put y'all questions. If you got questions, put them in the comments. So I'll see it. And we'll come back. All right, I do Sasha. Peace in the lab. It's truly wonderful. Divine love. Sleep paralysis. Fear won't save you. Tell them I said that.